This is the Paranormal Report. Yes, it is. Welcome to the Paranormal Report. I'm Jim.
I'm Dar.
Hey,
How's it
good
going?
to be with you. Every time I do that, I look extremely goofy. So we got to figure out a new
I
open
know
for
this
this.
is
Maybe
so
someday.
annoying because I'm like, what do I do? Just sit here and look stupid?
Well, the problem is,
Hey, everyone out there, don't comment on that. No.
well, the problem is that like with YouTube, they say never do a big long intro because 90% of
Right.
people tune out. So it's like,
Same.
what, and then I don't want to make like 17 different versions of the show. So anyway, too much inside baseball. We're here to talk about spooky stuff, paranormal stuff. And welcome
Absolutely.
to our show. Yes, yes. Big
Jam-packed today, jam-packed.
pack-jammed, as Cassandra used to say.
Pack-jam.
She was a little wee lad, or not laddess.
Lass.
Lass. I don't know. Forget me. I'm tired. I was up late. I was on the Great Coast to Coast AM overnight,
Yes.
and so I'm a little spacey. So if I suck more than usual, you know why.
3 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah,
which
3
was
a.m. Eastern. Yes, they put me in the
Yikes.
prime slot. Anyway,
Respect.
only the best slot.
Only the best for
but
Jim
I'm very
Harold.
appreciative. I'm very appreciative. So, well, you remember that that Buga Sphere in Colombia? You know,
Yeah, we
I
just
think
talked about this
yeah.
a few weeks ago because we
Yeah,
were talking
back in-
about how all the writing on there.
Yeah, it was spotted in March over the town of Buga in Colombia. It was zigzagging through the sky, and it landed. And well, it's been investigated now. And Jaime Maussan, the Mexican journalist, they had a big event on June 20th, an international conference to discuss this. Now, there were a lot of big deal people there, including Congressman Eric Burleson of Missouri and Dr. Stephen Greer, who I have had on the show quite a few years ago.
Wow.
But Maussan, this journalist, claims that men dressed as policemen tried to steal the Buga Sphere.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Why?
I mean, actually,
Yeah.
Stephen Greer released this. I should be more clear about this. Yeah, they said that they supposedly tried to steal this sphere. Now, the thing is about Maussan is that some people are skeptical of some of the things he said because other things he's been connected with. There were some mummies that he was connected with that were supposed to be of extraterrestrial origin things. And it seems like that has been allegedly debunked. So sometimes people are a little skeptical of things that he's involved in. But the fact, I mean, that's a pretty big deal. They were able to get Congressman Burleson there. And Burleson added at this conference, which I actually think is more interesting than the Buga Sphere part of it. He said it was his belief that governments and other groups may be working to suppress the public's knowledge of UFOs and alien life. He said it's not any government's right to protect knowledge about extraterrestrials if it exists. We have too many people reporting and too many videos to ignore it. Which when I had seen him talking before, I thought he was kind of a skeptic, but I don't know if
Yeah, you
something's
said
changed
that.
his mind.
You told me that from the
Yeah,
beginning, and I'm
when-
like, but he doesn't sound like it, Jim.
Well, I thought maybe I mistook one of his questions at one of the hearings, that hearing a couple of years ago he was in, because I thought, oh, this guy is not for UFO disclosure, but it seems like he's gone in the other direction. So this Buga Sphere, I mean, it's a metallic-looking ball. It has these weird writings on it. I'm not convinced it's of extraterrestrial origin, but it's interesting. It's interesting.
Well, why
What do
does
you
somebody
think?
want it? Why are they trying to steal it?
Yeah.
What's the purpose of that? Why? What do you want this thing for?
Now,
What are you
this
going to
is-
do with it?
This is kind of weird. They're saying at this conference there were some new images, and this is dailymail.co.uk this is taken from. They had new images of it, and they said it appeared to be similar in design to inventor Nikola Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower from the early 1900s. And that was
Whoa.
a tower that was supposed to give free energy, because Tesla was doing work on wireless electric, and the idea everybody could have free power. And he had investors like, and this isn't in the story, but he had investors like J.P. Morgan. And then I think Morgan supposedly asked him, well, you know, wireless electric, how do you put a meter on that? And all of a sudden, his funding was pulled because Tesla basically said, you don't, it's free to everybody. And it's like, well, you can't make money from that.
Oh, they didn't
And
like
there's a lot
that.
of speculation that Tesla was basically ruined and shut down because he was threatening the system because he had an idea for universal free power, which doesn't surprise me. Did I just hear a dog yelp?
Yes. Yes, you
Yes.
did.
Yes,
Rambo
I
is going
did.
crazy, even though I have the blinds and the drapes closed.
It was like, "Arr." Anyway.
Oh, I didn't hear it that way. It's just
Yeah,
he's barking.
yeah. Oh, hey, you get the unvarnished reality here when you're on the Paranormal Report. None of this canned
Oh,
stuff.
brother. Oh,
No, it wasn't
brother.
that bad. It wasn't that bad. So anyway, he's chiming in. He's chiming in. He's for
I
UFO
muted to
disclosure.
yell at him, but it didn't work because he doesn't care. So
Yeah.
something out there is getting his
Getting his goat,
interest.
getting his attention. Well, so
Well,
the
what
Buga
else is getting attention?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go
yes,
ahead.
I was just going to say the Buga Sphere, you be the judge. We'll continue to follow it and we'll continue to report on it.
There you have it. Yeah. Well, I want to switch gears. You remember maybe a couple months ago or whatever, we had that real interesting story. It wasn't paranormal, but it was about the guy who can make clouds turn into squares.
A square shape, yes.
Square
yes.
shape. Clued.
Clued.
Well, this past week, crowds of worshipers were stunned in the Philippines because they felt Jesus appeared to them in the clouds.
Huh.
Yeah. So this was a bunch of Catholic worshipers were outside celebrating National Youth Day in Naga City on June 14th, and all of a sudden an unusual cloud formation appeared overhead, and it was like a robed figure, and it got everyone's attention, right? And they were just convinced it was the shape of Jesus in the sky. It made news, it went viral. I'll put in the show notes. I'll put the link so you could watch the video of this. So people are like, well, was it really a formation of Jesus? Where was it pareidolia? Kind of what you think you might be seeing. I will say it was definitely interesting. It definitely looks like a robed figure in the sky. Now, when my 2 cents, right? Okay, so my 2 cents, when I saw it, I didn't think Jesus, I thought Mary. So
Huh.
that was kind of interesting and I knew they had said Jesus, so I was like really carefully looking at the outline. To me, it looked more like a woman. It looked like Mary. I don't
Hmm.
know. You guys can be the judge. You can watch the video. Yeah, but it is very interesting, and it's kind of like it's a figure, and the arm is outstretched like this, like it's outstretched to the side, and yeah, I mean, I don't know. So you guys could be the judge, but people were just adamant that they saw Jesus in the clouds. So
Yeah, I will tell you, I mean, I don't discount that these things can happen. There can be religious miracles where people see visions. I don't discount it. Now, I'm biased because I come from the Christian faith, but I do think these things exist. But also, I will say this. There can be, I think it's Project Bluebeam. There were these experiments. And by the way, speaking of experiments, Dar's camera is going crazy. If you're watching video, we're experimenting with a different camera that we're probably not going to use.
okay, an aside, because Jim is all about his tech and stuff, and he was insistent that my previous camera was horrible, so he's trying this one out because that's what
yes,
he
and
does.
that's not good. But I think I've come up on the
I don't
solution.
like this one.
Yeah, I've got the solution. I figured it out while we were doing the
Sorry.
show, and I'll share it with Dar. She's going to be upset because her desk is going to look like an
No,
experiment.
I like everything very streamlined and look
Yeah,
clean
and
and
streamlined
neat.
sucks.
I
But
know it's
anyway,
good. Hey, my
yeah,
last
it's
video was fine. My last camera was good. Everything was fine.
streamlined sucks.
No,
Anyway, anyway,
do
my
not
point is
destroy my office.
this.
Yeah.
We've got to have sharp quality. That's the number one thing. So anyway, the point being that there have been government experiments apparently with the idea of being able to project religious figures against the sky to maybe use it in a battlefield situation to make enemy soldiers think that they've seen a religious vision that will make them lay down their arms. And supposedly some people say that this was a real government project. Now, I don't know why they would use that against the people of the Philippines, but this is something that the government has supposedly worked on. See, you learn something new every day.
Okay. There's a lot of assumptions that go with that. They'd have to assume that all the soldiers fighting actually have some sort of belief in that religious figure that they're projecting up in the sky to lay down their arms, but whatever. I The only thing I wanted to say is, like, I respect people's beliefs, whether they believe or they don't believe. So I would love if everyone else can do that as well. But they don't. So because I'm just thinking about, how many people are looking at this and they're like, yeah, it's not that. Well, that's fine. You're allowed to believe that. You don't believe it. You don't have to believe it was Jesus or some religious figure or anything. It could just be a cloud to you. But let's not poo-poo those that do believe. And if they have some kind of faith, let them have it, right? Let's have the freedom so that, people can believe what they want to believe.
I'm reading, well, let me look at Wikipedia here.
Yeah.
And this actually this
What
is more
about
of a,
the Project
this is
Bluebeam?
not, this is not, well, this is actually from their assist. So hopefully this is correct.
Oh boy.
Project
Oh,
Bluebeam
here we
is
go. AI.
but by the way, so it really isn't a verified, let me clarify, this is not a verified government project. This is what we term a
Well,
conspiracy
why would they disclose that too?
This is,
They're not gonna
yeah,
disclose
but
anything.
this does seem kind of wacky. Project Bluebeam is a conspiracy theory proposed by Serge Monass, suggesting that NASA and the United States nations are planning to create a new world order by faking a second coming of Christ and an alien invasion to unite humanity under a new belief system. This theory claims that advanced technology will be used to manipulate people's perceptions and beliefs. And I believe one of those theories was projecting some kind of religious figure like Christ. Again,
They have to have assumptions. They have to assume people would actually believe, because right now, as you all know, most people that hear these stories about aliens, UFOs, anything, loved ones reaching out to you, you're a bunch of kooks,
yeah.
right?
But the
So
point is I don't really buy this. I mean, I thought it was more of there had actually been some
did you
government work,
did you
but I
say it
can't.
was NASA and the United States, or NASA and the
NASA
United
and the
Nations?
United Nations. NASA and the
Oh, so
United
it's more
Nations.
global.
Yeah. But the thing is, I kind of, I am somewhat conspiratorial in that I do think the government, for example, is hiding a lot about the UFO question. But I am not a conspiracy theorist, because some of those things go in very dark places that I don't believe in. Like, for example, one I'll just throw out there is the 9/11 thing. There's a lot of conspiracy theories out there, and I don't buy them. I think it was what it was. So I'm not a conspiracy theorist. That doesn't mean the government doesn't try to cover some things up. I definitely think they do.
Of
And
course.
also, if I understand correctly, the phrase conspiracy theory was actually a phrase created by the CIA to discredit people who talk about conspiracy theories.
There
So
you go.
I mean, and we'll get this in a story coming up in a minute here, but I really believe that there are people who believe stuff that is totally out there and makes no sense. But I think there's people who believe things that are very rational and things. And the government and others try to make it as though it's all a bunch of poppycock. And this next story is a perfect example of that.
There you go.
Well, indeed you do, or at least the Wall Street Journal did. You remember we talked last week or the week before about that first part of that big expose, kind of saying, hey, all of this UFO stuff is just a bunch of government misinformation. Well, part two came out recently, as you know, and they kind of centered around a story about some metal that was found and was presented to the late, great Art Bell, the host of Coast to Coast AM for many years. And this was supposedly recovered from Roswell and possibly from an alien spacecraft. And the long and short of it, I'll give you the spoiler, they did some tests and it was not alien metal. And this whole story goes through and talks about the true believers. And when they were talking about Art Bell, they said something along the lines, and this is from the Wall Street Journal, said, he was talking about this piece of metal. And before moving on to discuss sightings of a mythical creature known as the chupacabra, which is said to suck the blood of goats. And this is supposed to be unbiased journalism, but you can read the tone throughout. It's just basically saying
Right there,
this is
the
all
choice
a
of
bunch of
words.
BS. Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
The
yes.
choice of words. It's all about
Yes.
semantics,
Now,
right?
I'm not
You could
saying
use
that-
certain words.
Right. I'm not saying that was from an alien spacecraft. And I'm not saying that everybody who purports to have seen a UFO or purports to have this secret knowledge, that they're all telling the truth. But again, I think the Wall Street Journal is throwing the baby out with the bathwater. A lot of people online, on social media, on X and different places have made the case. They accuse the UFO true believers, as they say, of not sourcing things. But this is not a terribly greatly sourced article. I just don't see this.
Here's the great point, Jim. Here's the great point. If they covered up all the other stuff, couldn't they just easily come out and say, well, we studied this and it's not alien?
Yeah.
How do they know
But
it's
I'm
alien
willing-
or not anyway?
But I'm willing to accept that it's not. But this just seems like a two-part hit piece on the UFO UAP effort to get more information.
Yes.
I mean, I would tell the authors, the U.S. government said there is something real to the UFO phenomena. And it's not just somebody's imagination. They
not from
said
this
it.
article.
So, I mean, as much as you try to re-kookify this whole subject, and I could go into it, but it just seems to be, it's just I think it's a piece of garbage. I mean, I really do, because I think it's trying to twist things. And I'm not saying every person they talk about is a paragon of honor and is telling the truth. Maybe there are some people that they mentioned in this article who aren't telling the truth or exaggerating things and things. That's totally possible. But again,
is.
it's the baby with the bathwater. There's no middle ground. Either you believe in everything or you believe in
Right.
none of it. And they're
Right.
trying to make, I think, people who say, hey, believe everything that you're told about UFOs and believe every time something is seen in the sky that it's an alien. I think that's not accurate. But I also think it's not accurate when you say this is all a bunch of bunk. When I think about cases like Robert Salas or Dr. Bob Jacobs or people like that, I mean, there's definitely something going on in the skies, something that has not been fully explained by our government. And I think
To
it
your
doesn't matter how many
point-
hit pieces you come out, that's not going to change that reality.
To your point, conversely, oh, you believe everything is a UFO, or conversely, believe it, oh, nothing's a UFO, nothing, so they're just taking a stand in what they want you to believe. And that's the problem I
Exactly.
have with all media right now. So I'm begging every one of you, no matter what the topic is, even if it's something stupid like cooking or whatever, and you're reading an article about it, use your judgment. You guys are smart. You have brains. Read between the lines and make sure the information you're getting is true and factual as possible. It answers the 5 questions. All this other stuff, unnecessary. It's
Yeah.
opinion and biased.
And most quote news coverage now, if you're talking about, Associated Press and all the major outlets, I can't think of one unbiased source
No.
out there. And it's the way that they employ language. It's the way they use scare quotes.
Yes.
And the thing is that, I mean, I'm not saying we're the most brilliant people in the world, but we're smart enough to pick up on that immediately. I can read an article, first paragraph, second paragraph. I can say,
Absolutely.
okay, I know the
I'm
political
done.
belief of this person. I know the
Yes.
person's belief. Used to not be like that. Back in the day, when we went to school, they said you hide your beliefs. You just who, what, when, where. Now, if you have a news analysis piece, you have opinion, you label it as opinion, but that's not the way
Right.
it is anymore.
No.
It's like, let's work in our agenda. And it happens on both sides. So I don't
But
want to
it
hear somebody say,
happens in
oh, you're a
everything,
right winger,
Jim, not
you're
even-
a left winger.
But not
It
even
happens on
just
both
politics.
sides.
What about in entertainment? You could read an article about Taylor Swift and you can get
Yeah.
different, oh, we love, they're either pro Tay or they're against Tay. I mean, you can read any article in any field, in any topic, and you know exactly the bias of the person that's writing it Or
And
is it a person?
I blame the people who are teaching or not teaching journalism, because it's not
They're
journalism
not.
anymore. And you know what? Having an opinion is fine. Just say this article is my opinion. Then that's
That's
fine.
right.
There's not a thing in the world wrong with it. We should have strong opinions.
We include some facts, but the majority of it is my
Right.
opinion.
I mean, people know where I come from. I tend to believe in this stuff. I mean, I always say I'm 3/4 full for belief. If I'm a gas gauge, I'm 3/4 full. That means I do have a little bit of skepticism, but I'm definitely on the believer side. I don't hide that, and it's annoying when you get people who are purporting to be 100% down the middle and they're not.
Right.
These journalists have an agenda. I'm not saying that they were, hired or anything like this, but they have a viewpoint they're trying to get across, and they're building the language of the article in such a way, and they're constructing it in the way going, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. These people are crazy. That's
Well,
what they're
did you
doing.
see the picture, the photos that were included in this article? The one photo is from a biker parade. They gathered in the 2025 UFO Fest in Oregon, and they're shown removing green alien inflatables. Like you would buy at the party
Yeah.
store or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it is. We can't have
And
a
I don't think
serious
there's
discussion.
anything wrong with having fun with the subject. I think that's one
But
of the
this
problems
article
with
wasn't
everything.
supposed to have fun with the
Right,
subject.
right.
This was
That's right,
supposed to
right. This is
deliver
just
some
saying,
information and
they're
some
crazy.
news.
They're crazy.
Yeah.
They're all crazy. That's all it's
But
doing.
you see how subtle. So the common person might look at the picture and say, "Oh, look at that. It's funny." Yeah, but you're not thinking, why did they put that photo in?
To discredit.
They could have used another photo. They could have done, yeah, they didn't though. And even from there's a picture of David Grush, and even his facial expression, the photo that they used in there is so interesting. And how his hands are folded and whatever, and what other people in the back look like. You could have chosen any photo that was taken that day when he was appearing at the committee, but you chose that one with his interesting facial expression. So, to you, I'm sorry.
Nice two-part hit piece.
Wall Street Journal. Shame on you. Shame on you. Disgusting. I'm sorry. Joel Schechtman and
Well,
Aruna
I'm just glad that
Viswantha or whatever.
I
don't
think that's
care.
part 2 of 2, and I mean, I would just
Poor.
like to see a little more. Are you saying there's more parts to it?
What, the story?
Yeah.
No, I
I
just said
thought
it's
you said
poor.
4. Oh, poor. Okay.
No,
I
poor,
thought you
poor.
said 4. I'm like, 4 parts. No, I'm glad it's
No.
over. I'm glad it's over. But
Let's move on to something even more disturbing. No.
yes.
Your favorite. Let's talk about AI again.
AI.
So now, okay, according to
AI,
Yahoo Tech
AIO.
News, there's supposedly, and I'm saying supposedly, hilarious AI-generated Bigfoot vlogs that prove AI is so worth it as a creative tool. Okay, y'all know I've already blurbed about how much I hate social media, but for the sake of the article, I went on Instagram to determine,
Scandal.
because what they're saying is that this AI video generation is so awesome. It's reached new heights. It's so funny. It's hilarious. And people are experimenting with ideas. And there's all these Bigfoot vlogs on Instagram that people are creating with AI. And, critics always say, oh, AI video can't be funny or creative. But look at these Bigfoot. Here we go again. Bigfoot. It's so funny, isn't it, Jim? I just get so angry with this stuff. So I went on Instagram to look at the 2 big ones that they said. So there's one called Bigfoot Vlog and another one called Big Yowie. Just be aware. I think it was Big Yowie. Oh, one of them is using dynamite in every clip to blow things up. So just be aware. It's like PG-13.
Right.
Bigfoot is blowing everything up. He blew up people sitting around a campfire. That's so funny. He blew up, I forgot half the stuff. He ran off the road. It's like all this very violent content that they're creating with AI. First of all, in my opinion, both of those, the Bigfoot doesn't look like a Bigfoot. It looks like a big chimp, like a big ape to me. My opinion. So they're saying, oh, it's not perfect, but it's so entertaining. And whoever's making these has really put a lot of thought into it. And it's a huge part of why it works and blah, 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 blah.
Well, I'm not
So
going to
what does
come.
that do?
I'm
But what does it
yeah,
do,
I know what
Jim?
you're saying, but I mean, maybe as long as they're not saying this is real. But I know it's undermining the seriousness of the topic. I understand what you're saying.
That's what I'm upset about because again, oh, you really see Bigfoot? You really saw Bigfoot? You kook,
But
right?
I can see,
That's what's happening.
I can see instances where people could use AI video for good if it's to dramatize a story or something and those kind of things. I know you're 100% against it, and I am not.
Because
I do
it's
my
not
reservation.
real. And wait till they start doing AIs of you and having you say stuff that you didn't really say. They're going down a slippery slope, and
Oh,
I
I know
hate
that.
this. Okay, fine. All right. Was it funny? Okay, the one video, a shark was attacking Bigfoot. He was in the ocean trying to learn to swim, and then a big shark came and attacked him, and he punched him, and he ended up killing the shark and eating him around the campfire. I don't, maybe my humor is not what I don't know.
I mean, that doesn't sound incredibly hilarious to me, but I mean, I'm not ready to reject all AI or all AI video, long as it is labeled correctly. But the danger is, I mean, people could, I mean, especially you've seen what's happened the last couple of weeks. The wrong video could touch off a major war or something if people
Thank you.
thought it was real and those kind of things. So
Thank you. And we just
it
talked
is,
last year how the billionaire wants to get rid of humans with this lovely
yeah.
AI and all of this stuff. I don't Okay, look. I love humor. I love laughing, and it is good to poke fun at things. It's good to poke fun of all topics, even the ones that we believe in. It's fine to poke fun and whatever, and that's fine. However, but it just as long as it's not at the expense of somebody or somebody's beliefs or so, I don't know. So maybe this is meant to just be lighthearted and funny, and I took it wrong. Sorry, you guys can go be the judge. It might be funny. I don't
I
find that
think
it was
it's more about you
hilarious.
just hate AI, which
I
is
do.
okay.
It's more about I hate
Yeah,
AI.
you wish it would go away. And our
I
youngest
do, and it's
daughter,
not going
who's
away, and that's
who's
why I'm
very
upset.
techie, Natalie hates it too. Well, both our daughters hate it. I'm the lone,
I
like,
just see because I see the evil in it. I see the
yeah, I
evil
see
in
the
it.
potential for evil in it.
No,
Absolutely.
I see the evil in it, Jim, because we're on that little thin line. It's so easy to cross over. It's so
No,
easy to
true.
cross over and say, "Oh, they can just make AI, they can make somebody say something that they didn't say." And then
Yeah,
what?
no,
Like,
it's
how do you
true.
fight that?
No,
How do
it's
you fight that
true.
if it already goes out there and it goes viral? Like maybe some leader said something, and even the sides that we don't get along with, maybe they use AI and have Putin say, "I'm going to blow all of you up tomorrow" or something, and then
Yeah.
how do you investigate the truthness?
Veracity of it. Yeah.
Yes, that's the word I couldn't get.
The
I have word
truthness, the
finding problems.
truthiness.
Shut up. I have word finding problems. I think
Uh,
anesthesia killed my brain. But yeah, but that's my problem with it. By the time you investigate something like that, they could have AI come out and say, I pressed the button.
yeah. Well,
By the time
there was a video floating around on X last week. I don't want to get political, but it was of a person stroking like a model of a nuclear bomb, and
see,
there was some thought. People thought it was some kind of warning from Iran, which I think there was no proof that that really came from Iran. It probably almost definitely was a fake. Now that's something that could have just been faked without AI. It could have been
deep
AI. It could have been
fakes.
somebody
Yeah.
with a little model of it. Was just looked like the hand of a man petting a nuclear missile. But that kind of thing's very inflammatory, and if people pick up on that and they see that it's real,
And they believe
it
it.
can read to. Now, I don't think that had anything to do with what's happened last week. But the point is something like that could,
It could.
feasibly
That's why
cause a
it's
lot of
evil.
problems.
And
Yeah.
I just read an article unrelated to paranormal about how AI is actually forcing people to not use their brains. They did
No,
a
that's
study, and
yeah. I
it's
think if
you're
you
not using. How could you use your brain if here, write this for me? I don't have to think about grammar. I don't have to think about spelling. I don't have to think about content. I don't have to think about
yeah.
anything.
I've got some bad news for you. Supposedly, Chat GPT 5 is coming maybe in the next month or so. And I mean, they showed a graphic of how much computing power works in like GPT-4s like this, and like Chat GPT-5 is like bigger than this whole frame of video. I mean, it's just
Glad I'm on the back nine. Have fun of
there you go.
out there, you guys.
Well, that's kind of appropriate.
That's not
because
depressing.
the next story is about near-death experiences.
Oh, I thought it was about time, like 3 dimensions.
Oh, you're actually right. You're actually
Why do
right.
I always have to keep you on track with the stories?
Well.
You were really skipping ahead to this one.
I told you I stayed up late last night.
You
So
did. I'll
anyway,
give that to you.
Yeah, that is true. Well, this goes into, and in fact, when I was on Coast to Coast AM last night, we talked a little bit about time and my whole fascination with the idea of
Time slips.
retrocausality.
Yeah.
And the idea that something you do now might impact your past. And then you talked about time slips, and we had Dr. Kate Sherrill on the Paranormal podcast a couple of weeks ago. Check out that interview. She was great.
Yeah, that was
and she
really
talked about
good.
this area in Liverpool where people will walk in the street and they'll walk into a shop and suddenly it'll turn like into 1960, and they can interact with people and objects, and they walk
let's go
out
there.
and it's like 1960, and then it comes back to the present day. This idea that time is not linear like we think, it's far more pliable. Well, there's a new theory out, and this is according to phys.org. I always say this, not F-I-Z-Z, but phys.org.
Like physics,
And this, I guess this work came from the University of Alaska Fairbanks, and the professor is Gunter Kletschka, I believe is his name, from the UAF Geophysical Institute. And his theory is that time comes in 3 dimensions rather than just the single one we experience as continual forward progression. Space emerges as a secondary manifestation. And he gave some examples here of how it works. So I'm going to quote from the article.
Okay.
So basically, 3-dimensional time is a theory in which time, like space, has multiple independent directions, typically imagined as 3 axes of time motion, similar in concept to the spatial X, Y, and Z axes. Imagine you're walking down a straight path, moving forward, and therefore experiencing time as we know it, linear time, right? Now imagine another path that crosses the first one going sideways. If you could step onto that sideways path and remain in the same moment of regular time, you might find things that could be slightly different, perhaps a different version of the same day. Moving along this perpendicular second path could let you explore different outcomes of the day without going backward or forward in times as we know it. So he says that this would explain a lot of the ambiguity that people have had about time. Now, this has not been peer-reviewed. Sounds like it's brand new.
Okay.
But it says this approach might even help resolve the grandest of all unresolved physics challenges, unifying quantum mechanics, which could lead to a theory of everything. But I love this. And this is mind-bending because, time, the nature of time could explain a lot of paranormal phenomena. For example, if we're seeing UFOs, are they coming from another time, another dimension of time? Ghosts, are they coming from a slightly different version? So paranormal activity, to an extent, might be able to be explained by something like time if it's far more compressed, coming at you in 3D, so to speak.
That would be super interesting.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying this kind of research, so I hope they continue.
Yeah. See, this is the thing. People who, like in that Wall Street Journal article, they think we're cuckoo. They think we're nuts. But the thing is that, you can look at this stuff seriously and have some really serious questions about the nature of reality. And they just want to reject it all.
Well, they're
out.
closed-minded. That's my opinion.
Yep.
You can't open up your mind to different thoughts, to beliefs, different research that's out there.
Come on, don't you know the Earth is flat? Don't you know the Earth is flat? All these crazy spherical kind of theories, just crazy. I mean, it's the same mentality. It's the same mentality.
It is. That's math. So
you have another story about some strange smoke rings.
Well, yes. So this is from Lad Bible. Thank you. I always remember that now. And it's the truth behind strange bubble smoke rings that are seen around the world. They think that that holds the key to help us search for aliens, believe it or not. So this is from, researchers have been looking. It's not rings in the sky, it's rings in the ocean.
Huh.
Okay. So they're not made of smoke, they're made of bubbles, and they're being blown by humpback whales.
Huh.
So, they look, and they showed some pictures in the article, they look like big O's in the water, right? And but they stick around much longer, and they're much larger than, like, smoke rings, right? And they're feeling, or the theory is that the whales are trying to have some friendly interaction with humans, right? And, it's kind of like curiosity. So, researchers at the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence SETI Institute and the University of California are really finding these rings very promising, and they actually published their findings in the Journal of Marine Mammal Science. Okay, so they look at the bubble trails because it said it could attract mates. The behavior could be, something like that, but they're saying it's mainly to communicate with humans. And, going on and on about this, if you look at it, they're saying, can this project like focus on non-human intelligence? Is it a way to better understand potential signals in the future from alien life? So they're trying to make a comparison here. Maybe, I don't know if a causation or a correlation, but they're trying to better understand these rings because they feel that it can give us more information about, you know, alien life and extraterrestrials that are out there.
Hmm.
So I,
Interesting.
I, I think it's an interesting approach, especially if we talk about, the article didn't mention this, but like UAPs coming from underwater, right?
Good point. USOs. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Unidentified submerged objects.
right. So maybe I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what else they can deduct from this, as just friendly interaction with humans. Can it be, um, you know, applied to extraterrestrial life? So,
Yeah. I love when scientists take on these kind of topics. I think it's fantastic.
well, they should be applauded. Yeah. I mean,
Yep.
isn't that what research is supposed to do? It's supposed to take a question that you have. I mean, if you ever have done a research project, you start with a question, you develop it into a theory, and you say, I think it's this. And then you do an experiment to either, support it or to refute it.
Yep. Fully agreed. Now, on this next story, you know that one of my favorite topics, and a lot of our listeners know and viewers know, that near-death experiences. I'm fascinated by it, and it does answer, one of the ultimate questions: what happens and beyond. Well, Daily
Yeah.
Mail had a story, and they interviewed 3 near-death experiencers, and they all came back with the same message from the afterlife. And it's interesting because it kind of ties out into some science things I've been following lately.
Oh.
They say these 3 experiencers, Joyce Keller, Nancy Dannison, and Bill Letson, say that Earth is an illusion. And basically,
Hmm.
the afterlife is the real situation. Okay.
Hmm. So like a
So
simulation is, or no?
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
just finding it here. The one woman, Joyce Keller, died when she was very young, had an out of body experience, and she's had multiple ones apparently. But in this one, she said an angel told her that human life was an illusion and that she would live a life devoted to teaching when it was time to go back out of her body. And she said she'd been out of her
Mm.
body for about a half hour, I guess, and my parents accepted the fact I was dead, but I came back.
Wow.
And then Nancy Dawson, she died while having a mammogram, which,
Oh my
is
God.
terrifying. I guess it was a mix of low blood sugar and some sensitivity to some medication.
I think she was
This was,
having a biopsy too at the time,
yeah,
wasn't she?
yeah,
So that makes sense.
1994. Yeah. And basically, she said that she encountered a presence that was a godlike entity, which she called Source. And it was this energy source that told her human life was an illusion created so that source could learn from observing human experiences. She said the most compelling thing was the information that I am not human. I'm not a human being. The humans are animals that are indigenous to planet Earth, and what I am is a spiritual being that inhabited the human. So that's what she had said. And the last one was Bill Lutson, a retired firefighter. He got the flu, took some medication, had a bad reaction to him, and had a near-death experience. And he said that the afterlife was a sea of welcoming euphoria and joy, heaping praise on me and acceptance and love. And he said he added that the person he had been on Earth was not really him, and the human life was not the real reality. He said, all I could think of through all of that was, how in the world did I forget who I really was? How is it possible I fell for this? I don't know, but it reminded me, I just listened to a recent interview with Rizwan Virk, who has been on the shows before. He is a scientist, has a new book coming out in July, trying to get him on the show. We've had some communication back and forth with his people. Hope he comes on, talking about the world as a simulation. And to me, the whole talk about the world being a simulation, it's maybe the different way of saying the same thing. The God is the cosmic programmer. Because think about it, if you
the
create
source.
if you create, let's say you create your version of The Sims, well, in a way, aren't you the God of that world? And you created it, and you created everything in it if you program the game. So is it just a different way of looking at and saying exactly the same thing? Because, I go for a walk and I look at the trees and I look at the water and the grass and the animals and the insects and think, oh, all of this didn't happen by accident. The tolerances we need on Earth to survive the temperature, we're complaining in behind the scenes for the Plus Club, we're complaining what's in the 90s. But I mean, really think about it. You go 20, 30 degrees either way, 10 degrees either way, and everything goes to hell ecologically. So I guess the point is that, maybe it is a simulation, and maybe it was created by a cosmic programmer called God. So anyway,
I just that Nancy's viewpoint. She was the second one, right? That was terrifying to me.
The humans are animals, and
I am. The more I'm learning about this near death, and not even the near death, just like this idea of the simulation and all that is absolutely terrifying me. It's messing with me.
But
it's messing with my
don't even
beliefs
know
and
if
things.
simulation is the right word. Maybe that's the
I
word
know,
people are
but you know what I
using.
mean. Like, I
Because
don't know.
it challenges your
Yes,
belief system
my
and
faith.
so forth.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I
I
just
think
kind
both things are
of,
possible.
I'm,
For me,
I
it
do,
kind of
but I'm kind of keeping that compartmentalized.
compartmentalized.
I'm not the one that stayed up till 5. What the heck? Okay. Anyway, I'm kind of keeping it there and
Right, you're
keeping my faith
compartmentalized.
here.
Well, you
Yeah.
should. But again, I find a lot of this stuff in a weird way kind of enhances my faith.
Yeah,
That
you
we
say
don't
that.
understand
It
reality. I know it's
challenges
weird. I
mine.
have a different reaction to all of it.
Yes, it challenges mine, and I don't like
Yeah.
it. And because that my faith is what gets me through almost everything. I mean, it
Right.
has been. I mean, through my thyroid cancer, like every medical issue I've gone through. Without my faith, I don't know where I'd be right now. So I mean, that's what gets me through.
Right.
Everybody has their own thing. But for me, that's what gets me through. And then hearing these things terrifies me, scares me. So, but you have the opposite. I don't know
Yeah.
how does it enhance you and your
Because
thoughts?
if you think about, atheist, and again, if somebody's out there is atheist, God bless, no pun intended, God bless you. But
Good
that's
one,
a way
Jim.
to tee off a atheist.
Yeah, no,
God
duh.
bless you. But I guess my point is the materialists, hearing all the stories I hear and being exposed to all the things I've been exposed to, tell me that really our reality is way different than the materialists would have you believe, and that leaves space for like creation and God and so forth and so on. So for me, I think it's made me more of a believer rather than less.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, very good.
There you have it. There
you have it.
Well, you can just look at me, based on my astrology sign and know all about me, right?
Your aura.
My aura.
Right. Do you like your aura?
Some days,
I believe that.
some days it ain't so hot.
I believe we have that, though. I do believe we have like an energy surrounding us. I think some
Sure.
people have good and some have evil and some have like,
In
neutral
between.
energy. Yeah. And I think it can vary day to day. But parade.com is saying that you can define yourself in one word, your essence in one word, and it's by your zodiac sign. And there's a word that will describe your aura based on your zodiac sign. So, I love this kind of stuff. So I thought this was super
Yes.
interesting. So the article goes through each one, like Aries is robust, Taurus is creative. So I think that's interesting because Natalie is a Taurus. So she's pursuing a job that's in the creative field. So I thought
Yes.
that was interesting. And you, my dear, are sweet. Cancers are sweet. The
I
crab
thought
is
you were
known
going
for
to say SOB. No.
No, sweet emotional nature and protective qualities, which you do have. You do have that. You intend to give and nurture those it takes care of, which is more the reason to have a tender and loving aura and a light blue color.
Somebody
surrounds
did.
you.
I had a light blue suit when I was in high school. It was out of
You
style.
did. I
It was
remember
not
that
good.
picture.
Not good. Not good.
Yeah.
Not good.
So
Not good.
no, Leo is
but
passionate. So that would be, well, Cassandra's on that cusp. So she's either a Leo or a Virgo, but I don't think she's Virgo because Virgo's word is calm.
no. What about you? What about you? What were you?
Scorpio, this is the best. Evocative.
Evocative. Yeah, I've heard you be
I have a
evocative a
black
few times.
aura.
I've
I
heard
have
you
an
be very
intense,
evocative.
brooding personality. But most astrologers disagree. They say it's an evocative vibe that allows you, a Scorpio, to transcend and grow, and it aligns them with a green and white aura because they are simultaneously transcendent, changeable, and psychic. I don't
There
think
you
I
have it.
am. I'm
There you have it.
changeable.
Well, somebody called me the other day the Mr. Rogers of the paranormal, which I don't know if I like that or not. I'll get my
You don't like
sneakers
that?
out. Well,
Change into your
I
sweater?
understand, but I don't know. It's not the most,
Right, Mr. Rogers is like, he's beloved,
Yeah.
I think.
Well, it's okay.
No? You don't feel that way?
No, I also Bob Ross. Somebody one time called me the Bob Ross of the paranormal. Happy little
Well, see,
trees.
because of that loving nature, and you're just
Happy
happy,
little-
and calm.
happy
They
little
don't see you when
ghosts.
you're not happy and calm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
but
get to
I
see
do have that other side people don't realize. I
The
have
other side.
the other Jim
Plus
Harold's
Club.
other side, not just in the Plus Club, but
That's
I try to
right.
be. I mean, I try to be nice to people. I'm one of
Until
these
they're not
classic,
nice to
right?
you,
That's
and
I'm
then
nice till I'm not
all
nice.
bets
If
are
people
off.
Yeah. Well, no, my default is to go into any interaction with somebody being nice, and I think it's sometimes hurt me in career and things like that. To be honest,
Because
definitely.
why? Because I think a lot of times in the
People
business
confuse it
world,
for
they view
weakness.
nice as stupidity and weakness.
Yeah,
They do.
but I
Instead of just genuine.
can turn on a dime. Believe it or not.
Yes,
Believe
he
it or
can.
not.
I believe it.
Well, I'm telling you, I'm excited because
I
Steven
know.
Spielberg is coming out with that new UFO movie. It is untitled as of yet. We don't really know what it's called, but that is very exciting. It just recently wrapped up, and Jurassic Park writer David Koepp, who wrote Jurassic Park, shared an update regarding the movie. This is according to Yahoo.com. And he said that unfortunately, there's very little I can say about it other than we finished shooting about 3 weeks ago. I think it looks fantastic, and it comes out next June. He also said, if I say anything, I'll get killed. What Spielberg, does so brilliantly is that he combines a vast spectacle with really honest human emotion, unlike, I think, any other director. It's a very emotional experience, this movie. And listen to some of these people that are going to be in there. You're going to have people like Colin Firth, Emily Blunt, Wyatt Russell, Josh O'Connor, Eve
Wow.
Hewson, Noah Robbins. Just seems like it's star-studded, and it's going to be huge. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. There's an apocryphal story out there, and I don't know if it's true or not, but when E.T. came out way back when
Mhm.
in, what, 82, I think it was, they screened it at the White House for Reagan, and apparently Reagan told Spielberg. Now, I don't know if this is true or not. It's a lot closer to the truth than you think. I don't know if that's true or
Interesting.
not. I don't know if that's true. That's an
Oh,
apocryphal
it's a
story.
fun little anecdote.
A fun little anecdote. But the
You're
point
not
is that,
claiming it's true,
I
so
mean, think about that. He must have a real interest in that subject. So, yeah.
yeah,
I
he's
just got a
making these
warning.
movies, so
I just got a warning. We're low on disk space. So we better wrap up this last story
Oh, no,
fast.
we gotta get to this story. Jim, go to the fridge, get some cheese. I'm gonna read your cheese. It's
Yeah,
gonna
read your
tell you
cheese.
your
Hurry up.
future.
We don't want to blow the whole thing
Okay,
here.
okay. Well, it's people.com, and it's a story that Lisa Stardust had her experience after getting a cheese reading from Jennifer Billick, who's known as the cheese clairvoyant. I love this story. This is my favorite story. I was so excited about this story. So, her profession, Billick reads fortunes through cheese. So she's a seasoned travel and culinary
No pun
journalist
intended, seasoned.
I know, who fell into this line of work during the pandemic, and she will read your cheese. So, apparently, it's tyromancy. So there's a whole history lesson. I'm not going to get into all of it, but they would carve names into the cheese and analyze the patterns of the mold and veins and whatever. And so this author got her cheese read.
It
And
sounds like a personal problem.
I just love
That's
this
a
'cause I love
that's a
cheese, so I think
that
this be
that's
great.
that's a great pickup line. Could I read your
Yeah,
cheese,
"Can I read
please?
your cheese?" Yeah, that's good. She had to send a picture of 2 cheeses that she had. It could be vegan too, it was just very funny. So she sent her Camembert Brie and an Emmental Swiss.
Well, see, it's a warning, warning, warning. I have no idea why
Uh-oh.
that just came on. Oh,
Oh,
oh, I know why it came on. Go ahead. Just disregard the alarm, folks.
this is a
Everything's
fun
falling
episode,
apart.
isn't this? We've got Rambo barking, we've got alarms going off.
This is the
Oh,
real
my
deal.
camera's going in and out, making it all psychedelic. This is
But tell
fun.
us about the
Um,
cheeses.
so she had the reading and she told her that she was going through a lot of change in her relationships and she was gonna form unique alliances. And of course, she said, "Yeah, this is all true." She said, she sorted out images, saw a face with a mustache and a flower, and said she had issues with someone who starts their name with the letter T and that she should let go of her expectations with them. And she said that couldn't be more real.
Hmm.
So I thought that was kinda interesting. Um, yeah, so I don't know. She was, like, looking at the cheese and she read her future. So she believed it. So
Very
she said
cool.
she said even though it was in line with, many things that were going on, she just thought it was fun.
These divination tools, they're all just that. They're a tool. A lot of times they say that the power is in the actual reader, the person who is doing the reading. So, I mean, it sounds kind of funny, but maybe the cheese is the medium for the medium.
Well, it is. I when I was in high school, I went to a psychic. She didn't use her real name. Her name was Mrs. Black, and she just wanted to hold something of yours. She didn't even care what it was, if it was
Sounds like
jewelry.
a personal problem.
Okay, now cool it. But no, she didn't really
Can I
use the
read your
item.
cheese?
Yeah, uh-huh. So I believe that, but I find this interesting. Maybe that's what I should go into. I was like, figuring out what my next steps are. I was going to do astrology, but maybe I should do this, tyromancy. Maybe I should learn how to read cheese. I love
Well, what's good
cheese.
is after you're done with the reading, you
You
can
can
eat
eat
the
it.
cheese.
I love it. Let's do it.
Multitasking, that's very efficient. You can't eat your Ouija
And the
board. You
cheese
can't eat
stands
your
alone.
tarot cards.
You
Maybe not
cannot.
so way.
Ooh,
Well,
maybe we need to
I'm
make cheese-flavored tarot cards or something,
now
like
I'm a hanker
crackers
for
or
a
something.
hunk of cheese. Gen
There
Xers
we
will get
go.
that maybe. Well, thank you so much for indulging in our little bit of cheesiness this
Oh,
week on the
yes.
Paranormal Report. And yeah, well, thank you again for being a part of the show. Please spread the word, subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or follow now is what you're supposed to say. Follow,
Oh, I'm
that's what all
sorry,
the kids say.
follow. Yeah,
Share
see,
it
I
with your
don't
friends.
follow any of it. No.
Text the show to a friend. And we didn't even mention the merch store this week. JimHarold.com/merch, JimHarold.com/merch to get some very cool spooky gear, stay spooky gear. And we
We
have
have
some new things
something
coming.
coming. Something's
Something coming, something
coming.
mysterious. Ooh, what
Oh.
could that be? A UFO?
Oh,
A
maybe.
UFO,
Hey,
a
that would be
merch,
fun.
merch
Brand
FO.
brand your own UFOs. That would be
Yeah.
good.
So something's
Um,
coming very shortly. Stay tuned.
that's true. And also, what else is coming? We're in beta phase.
Beta phase of the virtual campfire community. If you're in the virtual campfire Facebook community, you will have heard about it probably. And that's a new community where everybody can join in for free, no charge for it. And we're going to basically recreate that spirit of that Facebook group without Facebook, because the problem is that it started out was great. And Facebook was behind groups and really supported them. And now,
And they used AI. No.
yeah, and when people, well, they turned it on automatically on the group, and I never told them to. In fact, I told them not to, and they turned it on anyway, and I went in and
Oh,
turned it
nice.
off. So basically, if we would post something or somebody in the group would post something, we have 27,000 members there, and maybe 1,000, maybe 1,500 people would see a post, and that's ridiculous.
Not
So,
good.
at
So
our
this
own
community is going to
expense,
be
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah, I went out and spent the money and got a platform, and it cost you nothing. And you can go on and talk about the shows, about the stories, about this show, about the campfire, about the plus shows. And it's going to be
And
a lot
thank
of
you to
fun.
those that said this was one of your
Yes.
favorites. I
Yes, a
appreciate it.
lot of
Jim
people
appreciates
said
that.
that
Yeah.
when we onboard
Campfire
people, we
and
ask what your favorites are. And I think we're up to about 180 beta members so far as of this
ooh,
recording.
see, yeah, I
A
love,
lot of people.
and I will be posting a lot more on there because,
Yeah,
as you guys know, I hate AI and I also hate social media.
yeah,
So, I like this community because it sticks to what it's supposed to be, and it's talking about paranormal and talking about Jim's shows,
yeah.
and it's not all the brag
Yeah.
fest fluff that you get on some of these other social
So
media sites. So,
if you're part of that virtual campfire group and you like it, yeah, I think you'll like this even better. There's even a free app you can download, and this is through a major company that does this sort of things for a lot of organizations. I did the research, and they're definitely one of the leaders, and they have I'm very impressed with the platform so far, and we'll be moderating it to watch out and to try to do our best to keep the spammers out and the bad
so
guys
be nice,
out.
everybody,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and follow the rules
So next week we
because
should have
it's
an
important.
announcement on that where everybody can join. Hopefully, if we don't run into any problems with the beta test, and I've been planning on this for months, so I'm very
Oh,
excited
Jim has
about
been
it.
working so hard on this.
Yeah,
Weekends, like just spending all day,
yeah. But it's been kind of
so
fun. It's been kind of fun. I've kind of enjoyed it, so I think I'm going to enjoy
much
it
better than doing the
even
yard
more.
work in the 90-degree weather.
Not fun. But
No.
this has been fun. We thank you for joining
Yes.
us once again on the Paranormal Report as I hit the button for the theme music. We'll talk to you next time. Stay safe and stay spooky. Bye-bye.
Bye.